Speaking of new things, is that you know that you started something
Oh,
this year,
okay.
market roundup,
Yeah,
which can be found
okay.
on Instagram, which is something that's pretty sick, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you,
Daily
man.
posting about news content. Obviously, talk more about it in a sec, but I just want to give it the.
Yeah.
I just want to hype it up to what it deserves to be hyped up to. So basically, for anyone that hasn't followed it on Instagram, it's essentially a news resource for anybody that's interested in the key things that are happening within the world and how it affects the economy or markets. And Izzat is basically posting on a daily basis, and he has done for the past 3 months, I'd say.
Yeah, it's around 3 months now.
Yeah, daily. Not a single day's been missed. All right, and mind you, he's been busy with other stuff too, but he's still getting it done. Tell us why you started that. What was your inspiration for it, and what you want to do with it going further?
Yeah, no worries. So, I graduated.
Don't be shy, fam.
I'm not shy, bro. Let me speak, damn it. So, I graduated like June this year, innit? From a finance degree, right? Like, I had something like semi lined up for a job, but that didn't fall through because big corona hit, innit? And flipping, my job just went out the window. Well, the one I had lined up, well, the job I had lined up anyway, it just, there was issues with being in the office and the fact that they said that they couldn't train me because they weren't in the office. So they were like, yeah, we're going to have to put a pin in that and we'll see what happens in the future. So that's ongoing. But I basically worked out that I was either going to get a job at some point, I don't know, in 6 months or 12 months, right? So I'd come out of university June 2020 and I had a long stretch of 12 months of just time to myself. So I decided, instead of just sitting around, because as I said before, like just sitting around doing nothing, I'd get bored as hell and just like it would annoy me. So let me do something. So actually, I was talking to Adam, like just about different ideas and stuff, and then he told me about one of the things that he wanted to do was set up the what's it called?
The farmer feed.
Farmer feed. There you go. So he goes to me, yeah, I want to set up something to do with my industry called the farmer feed. And he was like, the whole point of it was more commercial insights in it into pharmacy, whereas all the current pharmacy pages, they do more sort of
Right now it's
revision
more,
stuff in it.
Yeah, it's like clinical revision.
Yeah.
I was just interested in industry, but I don't want
Yeah.
to talk too much about that. I want to hear about your thing.
So I saw that and I thought, that's a sick idea. And I just thought, let me see how I can make my own version of that I'd be happy to do day in, day out. And I thought one of the things that I'm very interested in is how different stuff that's going on in the world is affecting the financial world. So all I do, right, on this market roundup page is every day I'll put up like 3 stories of 3 news articles that have happened around the world and then how they affect the world of finance within them. Like that's been going really well. Bare support on it. Like I started with 100 followers in the space of 3 months. I'm now on like 500 followers. Like I know these aren't mad numbers, but all I see is progression, and so I just want to keep that building.
And you know what? You need to look at it from the point of every one of them 500 followers is one individual that is benefiting in one way or another.
No,
and
for
that,
sure, yeah.
bruv, if you think about it, yeah, a hall of 500 people, even if like 5 people,
Yeah.
like 1% of that audience benefit from that to the point that it makes them more aware of what's going on in the world, and that could help them land a job, for example.
Yeah.
That is amazing, bro. So like,
Yeah, man.
I don't know, we shouldn't get too tied up on the numbers game and whatnot. Just look at the impact that it's having to
No,
individuals within that. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, like I don't care how many people follow it, innit? Like it looks better for me if more people follow it. Like that's the truth of it. But I generally don't care. Like if 150 people followed it the whole way throughout, I'll still do the posts. Like the reason I'm doing it isn't to get a fat massive page on Instagram. Like I wouldn't mind. Like I don't think it would be a problem, obviously, if it became massive. But for me, it was more. I want to do something, keep myself busy, something that helps not only other people but myself as well. So I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone, in it. Like I'm letting people be aware of what's going on around them, maybe helping them for interviews, like understanding like, okay, this is what's happening in the world. If somebody asks me what is going on in the world, at least I know from these posts. and also it helps me just keep up to date with everything. And it shows that like there's a key word that they like to use in interviews, like how have you shown your initiative? Like, that's a prime example of me taking initiative. So that's like the basis of it, basically.
Yeah, you know what? The focus on numbers is a very new phenomenon. Your intention was to better yourself, and if in the event of doing it, it helps other people, that's a major plus.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think in today's society we focus on numbers, likes, all of this stuff, but in reality, even as human beings, we struggle to comprehend numbers. Like you said it yourself, 500 seems so insignificant, but if 500 people were to put into a room, it would be massive.
I think it's also partly down to the fact that we are so strong on comparison as individuals in today's society. So like we think, 500 followers, but I know someone that's got like 1,000 followers, or this page has got 1 million, or this page has got... It just makes you feel a bit insignificant. But I think when you really value what you're doing and the uniqueness of your own project, then you can only actualize what it is that you're doing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like your uniqueness is what should be your USP.
Yeah.
And if that means that 500 people are attracted to it, that's far better than a bunch of sheep that are just following some random page that doesn't really give them much substance, if that makes sense. I don't know, that's just my take on it. But I think regardless of what you're doing, man, I think it's sick, bro. Like,
I appreciate
props.
that, man.
You know what? In fact, I've benefited from it myself.
Yeah.
So just to see that you're doing something is amazing.
Yeah. No, it's just trying to keep busy. Like, obviously, a lot of people have graduated this year, and a lot of people are in a situation which they probably didn't expect to be in. But I think the main point is, as long as you keep yourself busy and you're doing something productive and you're learning a new skill, like you can't just sit there for a year and do nothing and then expect like at the end of the year for it to become, because you got to remember that the pool of candidates now is probably the same pool of candidates, but the amount of spaces is like chopped in like half.
So it's become a lot more competitive. Yeah,
exactly. So you've just got to better yourself in every way that you can possibly do, and I think this is actually a great time to do that. Like, you've got so much free time in it. Everybody's got free time right now. So I think the best thing to do is just pick something up and just do something.
I feel like there was a whole period of quarantine, especially when the lockdown was in full effect, that everyone had so much time, and there was this real push for people to start doing businesses or just to do something, because before the excuse was, I don't have time. But now when you're actually in the comfort of your own home and you don't necessarily need to commute to work, or even if your work stopped, you had time, and time was actually no longer a constraint.
Being able to be your own boss, I think that's such an important thing now, and I didn't used to think that as much before.
100%, bro. Like, not to be cliche about things, because I think everybody says, I want to be my own boss, I want to do this, I want to do that, but I think it can be difficult to have the same vision as a massive corporation. And I think you're very fortunate if you do. Like, for me personally, the reason why I have an interest in something like pharma, and I don't want to sound like I'm doing flipping interview, but the reason I have an interest in that, and why I think I'd have a vision, or something like consulting in life sciences, again, I don't want this to sound like an interview, but the only reason I'd have an interest in that, because I know that I'm helping people's lives with that. So they're like some of the few places where I think I can share that vision. But to work for somebody else where my vision isn't aligned, am I going to be able to be as productive and give as much effort? Highly unlikely, bro. Like, it's just not going to happen. Whereas things like projects like this, like Yahya and I doing this podcast, or doing Farmer Feed, or you doing Market Roundup, because it's yours, you own it, you have invested yourself in it, you're going to put 10 times, 1,000 times more effort into that than you are anything else. So I 100% agree, man. And I think everybody should find something that they are invested in. I don't care what it is. If it's making pictures, if it's artwork, if it's starting your own cookery class, if it's making pictures on Instagram, whatever it is, just invest yourself in it. And honestly, I think you'll find so much more happiness in your life, bro. Like, that's my perspective of what I've done. I miss this podcast so much. Like, over quarantine, not being able to film, bro, like, it was actually the one thing that I was missing so much. Like, yeah, gym I was missing, but I was missing just having conversations with people, recording it, and the process of doing it with yourself. So, yeah, for me, that is definitely something that I think people should.
Yeah, I definitely agree. When it comes to doing something yourself, you definitely have a much greater vested interest in the actual specific product, course, whatever it is. And I feel like you see that with startups, or just with new innovative ideas. The people who would be spearheading that company would give it their all. And that's one thing that people don't really value. Like, you hear this rhetoric of, oh, I don't want to work 9 to 5, or I want to be self-employed, but they don't really understand the gravity of a situation where you are actually employed 9 to 5. Where you're actually self-employed. I do want to touch upon the whole 9 to 5 situation and how it's being demonized. I feel like everyone on social media, especially with the younger generation, are just slandering it, especially given the fact that a lot of them haven't worked a day in their life. We're talking about 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds who have barely any life experience, say, yo, I want to be an entrepreneur. And I'm not here to, I'm not here to hate on anyone's dream, but you really need to, like...
Say it with your chest.
We're trying to keep it family friendly, but I'm not here to hate on anyone's dream, but there's nothing wrong with working 9 to 5. There's, and if anything, my economics teacher was telling me that her husband was, I think he was an investment banker, or he made his own investment firm.
Bro.
Yeah, he made it in life. But even though she had all the money in the world, she still found purpose being a teacher. Yeah. So I think there's more to life than what people try to tell you.
That's what it's about, though. It's about the purpose.
It is. But
it's not about the 9 to 5.
So when it comes to happiness, yeah, if you find something that gives you content in life and gives you a drive, or just makes your life a little easier, if that's sports, if that's, I don't know, watching UFC, it could be anything. As long as you find that one thing that allows you to detach yourself from the struggles and the worry of the world, which we all know is very real and very true, especially in society, in today's society. If you can find something that just helps you find some sort of peace and purpose, it's definitely the one.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah. Straight facts. I think that's especially the case with, like, bro, like, people always slandering, even like teachers, yeah. I'm like, nah, I could never be a teacher. I could never do this. But as you grow up, yeah, like, I'm not saying I want to be a teacher now, but I think as you grow up, you realize that, you know what, teaching some kids some knowledge that you've developed over your time, or having a good experience with certain teachers. I know certain teachers, for me personally, like my RS teacher was wavy, and that's what's made me think the way I think, like being interested in like theology and philosophy and whatnot. The impact that they can have on individuals and the purpose that you see in that is a reason to be happy in life. And the same goes for like even personal trainers. Bear man take the mick out of like, oh, what, you want to be PT, yeah? But bro, like, I'm not saying right now.
No, you want to be a PT. You said it before. Don't try it.
Being a PT looks lit.
Puff up his chest.
Being a PT, I think, would be fun. Yeah, regardless of the pay. You know, if you could take money out of the question, because everything's about money nowadays. But if you could take money out of it,
it's a big stress and a worry. But if you take, you know what? Talking about taking money out of the equation, there was a big discussion about universal income, and if it was implemented, people would no longer have that crushing stress of let me pay the bills, and now they'll be able to focus on things that they actually enjoy. It's not communism.
It's not communism. It's different. It's like everybody just gets a like minimum amount of money, and then if you want to make more, you make more. Is that in it? Right?
Essentially,
yeah. So who's paying for that?
There would be tax, obviously.
The government.
Because I'm telling you right now, it's not the Tories, bro. They don't pay for nothing. They're not paying for kids' meals.
Yeah, that's
okay. That's another point.
But wait, we do not live in a capitalistic society.
How?
People love to tote it. A real capitalistic society has no governmental influence. It is a free market through and through. Yeah, we do not live in a capitalistic society. It is very much capitalistic, but like, there is more government.
Capitalistic than anything else.
It is.
But like, I get what you're saying.
It is like nothing's true. There's always there's a grey area. Not even a grey area. There's a boundary to it, you know. Like, for example, when it comes to
like your patches under your beard, grey area.
Look, but one day it'll pattern itself in it. So just waiting on that. But yeah, how do you feel about that? Because you said yourself you appreciated teachers, and even today I was thinking about it. There are elements of being a teacher that I really do look up to and I admire. I personally don't see myself being a good teacher. I feel like to be a teacher takes.
Don't.
What?
I know he's gonna.
Is that loves teaching?
Shut up, bro.
He's got best units on lock. Trust me.
I listen. I'm
Is that
private
the tutor or-
tutoring, yeah, but it's
He
not
loves
like
it. No,
it's
listen.
not my favorite activity each day, is it?
That's been tutoring him for about 7 years.
Bro, I've been tutoring
That's how
since
much
I
he loves
was 15 or 16. Like I've been tutoring for 5-6 years now.
Speaking of that though, yeah, like jokes aside, working has, like literally, bro, just working from the age of like 16, part-time jobs, odd jobs here and there.
Yeah.
People that haven't experienced that need to go and experience that. I'm telling them
Yeah,
right,
can't lie,
telling you
it's
right
a
now.
massive
mad-
character
Because
builder.
character building, but it gives you motivation because you know where you don't want to be. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
I have that.
Do you know, having said that, this was years ago when Casey Neistat's vlogs were really blowing. He said that he used to be a dishwasher.
Casey Neistat.
Like that was his first job, right? But he said, if you don't know your purpose in life, or if you don't know the dream job that you want to do, go and do something that you don't like. And when you do that job that you really hate, every single moment of that job that you're doing, you'll be thinking about, oh, this is not what I want to do. I want to achieve this, or I want to be working as whatever it is. So your point about when you do those part-time jobs, it really does give you an insight into life. And it does give you a motivation.
Yeah, it's you're constantly thinking about your out. What is your way out?
Out of what?
Out of that place that you're in. Because sometimes if you're there for so long, you might feel like, oh, am I going to be here forever? What if I am here forever? So for me personally, it's that fear of being there forever that spurs me on to try and do other things so that I end up getting out of it. That's how it works for me anyway. I don't know about you two, but yeah, I just thought that was
you seem perfectly content, and that's the pharmacy, mate.
well, I get the perks of that.
Yeah.
I get why somebody would want that. It's just not for me. So yeah, that was an interesting moment for me personally. But yeah, back on that point though. Well, I spoke about
Izzat and his
I can't
tutoring.
remember.
Izzat loves tutoring. That's one point.
How is that the point?
But the other point was universally
We're talking
everybody
about
gets the same
universal
money.
credit.
Who's paying for that?
It would be taxed. So
Yeah.
the working individuals.
Is that? I think everybody has a right to basic needs, though. That's the thing. So
But it's also like if certain people are always getting universal credit, then it's just like they can play. It's not even playing the system at that point because it's part of the system. But
It wouldn't be
you can
universal
sit-
credit. Everyone,
you can
as
just
long,
sit around
even
your
the
mind.
rich would get that fundamental, whatever the money would be.
but if the rich people are getting it too, when they can actually afford the thing, afford to pay like I don't
But
know, the
their
electricity bill,
tax-
surely that money would be better spent on some other thing that would benefit something else.
But I feel like the whole fundamental reason behind it is to do with if people are given enough to survive, then there will still be healthcare, there will still be education, there will still be like the basic necessities. However, it would free society of a lot of negativity. For example, there was a few select studies that actually occurred. Some in Alaska, some in Canada, some in South Korea. The problem with these studies, even though there was benefit, even though like individuals started declining jobs that they might have, like low income jobs that they personally were like, you know what, I don't need to do this because money is no longer that driving factor. Their increase in the quality of their life increased. However, the problem with those studies is it's a very micro selection of society, and when you give people the scenario of, you know what, you're going to be doing a selected test for 6 months, their behaviors are not necessarily indicative of how it would be implied in the real
In
society.
reality, yeah, I hear that.
So I do get your point about allocation might not be the best allocation of resources, but even in the current system that we're in today, is it fully utilized? There will always be inefficiencies, but I do see it being a fundamental thing for good.